There are few players in the NBA right now that are as underrated as Jarrett Allen. At a surface level, a lot of people see a stereotypical rim running big man, but if you take a deeper look, you realize that there's a highly versatile big man on both offense and defense. Of course, you do get the benefits of Jarrett Allen's ability to be an elite rim runner, but to diminish his abilities to just that dimension of the game isn't just reductive, it's just not accurate. That being said, in terms of rim runners, he is among the best in the entire league. He records the 6th most points per possession as a roll man with 1.27 points per possession, as well as the 4th highest field goal percentage as a roll man with 66.1%. Allen's rolling instincts are a major part of why he's able to be so successful. The Cavs love to set up these empty side actions, allowing ball handlers to turn the corner and put opposing defenses in recovery situations, normally putting the drop defender in 2-on-1s. Allen likes to roll out away from the basket instead of towards the paint, making a simpler release valve for the ball handler as they get down towards the rim, and then Allen is able to leverage his strength and post-creation ability to get the look that he wants. Sometimes he's going to forego the screen entirely, with Garland pulling the ball out with Jackson on him, but Allen pulls the chair out from under Jackson, allowing Garland to turn the corner and sprint towards Jokic with Allen rolling, creating a devastating 2-on-1 that leaves Jokic with absolutely no chance of stopping it. You won't actually see Allen immediately roll after screening a lot of the time. He's trying to see how the defense reacts to the ball handler first, noticing that Turner makes this weak hedge. If Allen were to roll immediately, LeVert wouldn't be able to get the ball to him in space, since he has 2 defenders on him. Instead, he hangs back as LeVert works his way further down, so that when Turner overcommits, Allen is in all of this space inside the paint, and from there it's just an easy push shot. This works out nicely too when defenses overshow a little bit on ball handlers instead of playing the drop, because Garland is always going to be able to hit that pocket pass to him on the short roll, and Allen is always going to be able to punish non-existent backline defense. Now let's say that the defense is in position to stop Allen if he gets the feed on the short roll. This is where Allen's game has really become a problem for defenses to solve, because if you leave him too much space like Capella does here, Allen can just rise up for the simple mid-range look, and believe it or not, he hits them at a really high rate. While his volume from long mid-range is still fairly low, only attempting 39 long mid-range jumpers last year, he hits them at a respectable 46% clip. When you factor in his short mid-range shooting, he hits them at an elite 51% clip on a volume of 260 total attempts. That number is a little bit murkier because short mid-range shots include push shots and hook shots as opposed to just typical mid-range jumpers, but it's an indicator of the incredibly reliable shooting touch that Jarrett Allen has and why I'd expect his efficiency to hold up relatively well if he were to make a point of increasing that volume next season. He definitely passes the eye test when it comes to the mid-range shooting. It really complicates things for defenses trying to slow down Cleveland in the pick and roll, because when you pair those insanely solid rolling instincts with the fact that Allen is a multifaceted threat in terms of scoring on the roll, Allen's defender ends up with a lot of possibilities that they have to be prepared for. If you overplay the paint with the expectation that he's going to get the ball and attack the basket, he's going to hurt you with that mid-range look. But if you play too high on him, he's going to end up behind you before you're even able to realize it. Now I want to talk about one of the most underrated aspects of Allen's game, his playmaking. Jarrett Allen's not on the level of players like Nikola Jokic or Alperen Şengün in terms of his passing and playmaking ability, but his passing is still a criminally underrated aspect of his game. The Cavs do a really good job of running off-ball split actions for their shooters, and it creates opportunities for these cuts to the basket with really small passing windows that require some surgical precision to capitalize on, and Jarrett Allen is fully capable of threading the needle to hit them in stride. They get a lot of benefits from using him as a high post passing hub, creating these throw and go actions, and since the center is usually pulled out of the paint to cover Allen, it puts Luka into backline help, and it ends up getting Craig Porter Jr. a look at the rim. On this play, they basically look like they're going to run the same thing, with Strus coming up off the staggered screens, but there's clearly a miscommunication on who's supposed to stay with Strus on the cut and who's supposed to go to the corner, so Allen makes use of this confusion to get him an easy finish. And all of that scoring ability that I've talked about earlier when he's getting fed on the roll, well, that has major implications for opening up passing opportunities for him as well. With the threat of him scoring in the mid-range and at the rim, teams oftentimes are going to send tags on his rolls, like Siakam does here, and all that does is leave Mobley open on the baseline cut for the slam. When he gets fed here, Valanciunas knows that he needs to step up or risk Allen getting an uncontested look, but he recognizes Ingram and Murphy still figuring out who's supposed to cover who, so Allen makes a move to the basket while Okoro starts to move, and he hits this slick pass around Valanciunas to hit him on the cut for the and one. The Knicks try to disrupt him on the short roll, with DiVincenzo making an aggressive switch onto him, but all this does is leave Okoro wide open, and Allen hits him to once again draw an and one. This action has Garland coming off of a pin down from Allen near the elbow, but the Hornets are going to be denying Garland from getting the ball. So instead, LeVert's going to pass to Allen so that he can run a blind pig action with Garland, and Garland gets the handoff to draw the defense's attention so Allen can get fed on the subsequent roll, and he gets a free look at the basket. He makes a significant impact on Cleveland's offense on so many different levels, and it's not really a surprise that they're significantly better as a half-court offense with him on the floor versus with him off the floor. A 100.2 half-court offensive rating versus a 93.7 half-court offensive rating is the difference between being an above-average half-court offense and a bottom 5 half-court offense. That 6.5 point on-off swing is the 5th highest among bigs in the NBA right now. It's really hard to have this level of impact on the offensive end if you're just simply a rim-running big. You've got to have a relatively diverse skill set to be able to make that kind of impact. And that's why you're doing a major disservice to Jarrett Allen's game if you try to minimize his game to what the label of rim running big implies. And all of that well above average offensive firepower is only bolstered by the fact that Jarrett Allen is one of the best defensive bigs in the NBA right now. Playing alongside Evan Mobley makes it a little bit difficult for his defensive counting numbers to be as eye-popping as some of his peers, but that doesn't mean the impact isn't there. He's a reliable help defender around the basket, being able to slide his feet when his teammates get beat off the dribble to shut down drivers, and it doesn't matter if he leaves his man open for a dump off because he can flip it right back around to recover and still end up getting a block. Even when he's having to relocate from higher up in the half court, he has no problem getting to the paint in time to contest and disrupt shots. He also has some more perimeter switchability than he really gets credit for. He's aggressive when navigating off-ball actions so that he can still get a contest up on shots from deep, and then he can seamlessly switch while still maintaining solid positioning to catch Jaren Jackson Jr. by surprise here when he thinks that he has Max Strus beat. He's put in a really difficult situation on this possession with Dame getting space from his defender coming off of this high screen, but Allen is still able to flip around and stay right behind him, ultimately blocking Dame's attempt at the rim despite being beat off of the dribble initially. While the most obvious aspect of his defensive arsenal is his ability to protect the rim at a high level, it's far from the only thing he can do. And for my money, I actually think his ability to guard in space when switched onto more ball-dominant players is a very underrated aspect of his defensive talent. He's not going to be locking up 1 through 5. But on individual possessions throughout a game where a ball handler thinks that they get an easy guard big mismatch, he can actually make them look pretty silly for underestimating his ability to stay with them and prevent them from getting easy separation in space. A lot of players will try to take advantage of the fact that they have him on a switch, but the reality is that they oftentimes end up settling for really low percentage looks, which is exactly what Allen and the Cavs as a whole want defensively. A lot of people raised some eyebrows when Allen's recent contract extension was announced because a lot of people see the $30 million average annual value. But considering the current collective bargaining agreement and the kinds of contracts that are being given out right now, $30 million a year isn't just market value for a player of Allen's caliber, it's kind of a steal. And that's really only around 16% of the salary cap for a double-double machine that can defend at a high level and provides a ton to you offensively. Jarrett Allen is genuinely an all-star caliber big, and he might be the most underrated center in the entire league. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you considered leaving a like and subscribing. It helps me out so much more than you guys realize. Regardless of if you do, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.